Hello and welcome back to a new episode of Halfway with Hathaway. George Hathaway here. And man, what a week it's been in sports. I mean, it's been unreal. College basketball is on another level. Absolutely losing my voice right now. That's why it sounds all raspy. But, the content needs to come out. This episode needs to be recorded. I think I just watched the greatest basketball game that I've ever seen. But no, to get things started off, Mike Greenberg thinks that UConn would be able to make the Eastern Conference playoffs. What? First off, as dominant as UConn is, and trust me, they are dominant, I do not think that they can compete with NBA players. I don't think that they could take on the Washington Wizards, right? Like, to me, it's just two different aspects. Like, we always say that, right? Like, the best college team can beat the worst professional team. We say that in college football all the time, that, like Georgia, they can take on, I guess last year's New England Patriots, right, who absolutely stunk the bed, right? It's like you could say something like that, but no, it's totally different, right? You're talking about grown men versus college players. Granted, if you're Armando Bacot, you're a grown man. And let's talk about that, right? UNC, the first one seed to lose in the tournament thus far. And then the day after, Houston, they lost to Duke. Pretty unreal, right? Duke finally beating a higher seeded team for the first time in, I think it's been like since the 80s or 90s that's happened. And to be fair, Duke has always been, a number 1 or 2 seed, so they rarely have to play somebody higher than them. Jared McCain's been balling out. Kyle Filipowski, he's been a hooper. Jeremy Roach, it's his time to shine, right? And John Shire in his second year taking this team to the Elite Eight, right? And that's pretty cool. They're going to play NC State on Sunday, which, wow, that's going to be fun, right? Battle the ACC right there. Ooh, man, that's beautiful, right? It reminds me of that Final Four of Mike Krzyzewski's last season coaching. Duke, UNC, Final Four. Man, that was a beautiful Final Four. And, of course, I wish it was Duke that ended up beating UNC. But either way, it was phenomenal just to kind of watch that game. March Madness has been ridiculous so far, right? Like, if we take a look at my bracket right now, it's not looking pretty. I will tell you that right now. I started off hot. Like, you see all the green. You see, like, all right, I had a very good bracket to start out. And then we hit the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. Things went south real quick after the first weekend for me, right? It was not good. Only team I have correct so far is UConn. In my Final Four is the only team I will have correct, right? Bama, they beat UNC. And then Clemson coming out, I had them losing to New Mexico State in the first round, and then they came out of nowhere on a little bit of a run here. So you have Bama, Clemson. Wait a second, wrong sport. No, it's not. This is college basketball. We're not talking about the college football playoffs with Bama and Clemson, right? So that's going to be a good Elite Eight. The winner of that will go face UConn in the Final Four. And then, right, out of nowhere, Duke, I had them losing to James Madison in the second round because I thought this Duke team didn't have it. I thought they didn't have that dog in them, right? But they come out of nowhere. I guess you can't doubt Duke. Of course, the one year that I don't pick Duke going far in my bracket, they decide to do so. Every other year, if I'm like, I'm going to pick Duke to go to the national championship and win it, no, they're going to lose in the first round. That's just how my luck works, right? And then they beat Houston. And then looking more into that bracket, right? NC State, I had them right, going to the Sweet 16, yes. But I had them losing to Marquette. Who would have thought? One of the best Big East teams, a team that really put UConn, toe-to-toe. It was a good game, but NC State, right? They've been on a tear these last 2 weeks. It reminds me of that 2011 UConn run when they ended up winning like 10 games in a row in like 13, 14 days, right? So it's just like, that's what's very reminiscent of. And this NC State team's very good. Duke, NC State, that's going to be a show. And then, right, going into my other portion of this bracket here on the Midwest, right? You have Purdue, Tennessee. That's what it's going to look like here. Right? Yeah, Purdue and Tennessee. Another team I didn't have correct in my Elite Eight, right? I thought Purdue was going to lose to Kansas, which ended up happening. They lost to Gonzaga. I'm not a big fan of Purdue, right? That's just a little bit of bias in me there, but I just truly don't think that this Purdue team can win a national championship at the end of the day. And then they're going to play Tennessee, who beat Creighton, who beat UConn by 15 points. Who saw that coming? Tennessee. Been playing very well for a 2 seed, right? So UConn, Purdue, the only 2 1 seeds left in the bracket. Other than that, we have ourselves, I think this is a great March Madness. This has been fun to watch. It has been a lot of upsets. It's not like anything crazy, right, that we've seen in the past. However, it's just good, solid basketball. And I think that's what the fans are here to see, right? I know I am. And looking at that, UConn absolutely dominated Illinois. A team that has a great defense and a very solid offense, a top 3 offense in college basketball. And UConn held them to 52 points. And UConn blew them out by 25. 10 straight games, 10 straight tournament games of double-digit victories. This goes back to last season. Unreal. Absolutely unreal. And this game, it was 23-28 at halftime with UConn up 5. And then UConn went on a 30-0 run. And Illinois didn't score for about an hour of real time. Unreal. Clingan, 22 points, 10 rebounds, 5 blocks. Woof. That's insane. I love Donovan Clingan, right? That's Connecticut right there representing the 203 from Bristol, right? Amazing. Absolutely amazing. This UConn team has 35 wins on the season, most in program history. And to be fair, this is the best team in program history. You thought last year's was good. You thought the 99 team was good. The 04 team was good. 2011, 2014, right? We can go on and on. But this team tops them all. It's not just how they've been playing, but it's a pure dominance of it all, right? I think, I'm not saying it's too soon, but this team is probably the best UConn team in program history. If they win a national championship, which I don't see them losing, I think they're going to go back to back. For the first time since 2006, 2007, we're going to have a college team go back to back in college basketball. Yes, we will. But if they end up winning the national championship, this will be the best team, I believe, in college basketball history. This will surpass Indiana's undefeated season as arguably one of the best teams ever, right? Or the Dukes, the UCLA's, Kentucky's. This will go down as the best team, right? And if they do end up winning the next 2 games, 37 wins, second most in NCAA history. Calipari has it 3 times with 38 wins. How many national championships though, right? Something you got to think about. Speaking of Calipari, he's back at Kentucky for the 16th season after a disappointing year once again for the Wildcats. I don't like it. I said it last week on this last week's episode that Kentucky should part ways with him. But I think it's the money aspect. They just cannot throw away $33 million like that. And they've invested so much time and effort into a great college basketball coach, but they haven't won anything. So that's why I think that they just need to move on. I'm not a fan. I don't like it. No. I mean, I'm not a fan, right? I think it's time to move on. At some points you have to move on, right? UConn moved on. Duke moved on. UNC moved on, right? All these teams moved on at some point, right? But yeah, no. This is going to be fun, right? This is a good March Madness. And everyone's saying UConn had an easy path. No. They played tough teams. They just absolutely dominated them. Like, it wasn't even funny, right? And the same thing with Duke. If she didn't get hurt on Houston, it was a totally different ballgame, in which it is. It's totally a different ballgame. But you look back, right? Kevin Ware, he got injured for Louisville playing against Duke when his bone came out of his knee. His leg snapped in half. And Louisville still ended up winning, not only that, but the national championship, right? So you can't just say, oh, our star player got hurt and that's why we lost. No, it's a whole thing. You can win without your star player. UConn has won without their leading scorer scoring, right? It's how you're going to adapt and your role players step up. So to me, that was a well-deserved win for Duke. Of course, yes, they took advantage of the situation, right? To the point that they know their Houston star players hurt, and they're going to attack a lot more. Granted, right, that's how it worked for them. But still, Houston could have won that game. It was a close game down the stretch. It's just Duke came out to play. Big fan of McCain, right? He's a great player. Absolutely amazing. TikTok star, 2 million followers, yes. Dancing in the locker room, right? I mean, come on. It's a fun team. They're having good vibes. And John Shire's a part of it. A great coach. I think he is. There's some new NFL changes similar to the XFL, where there's less space between kicking and the returning team. This is enforcing more returns, where the NFL last season had 22% of kickoff returns. That means the rest were all touchbacks, right? Or fair catches. And the NFL is going to try to eliminate that. They say it's going to cause less injuries, which I don't know how, but okay. Because if you're going to start returning more kicks, from now on, it's going to be weird, right? But to me, nobody was complaining about NFL kickoffs, right? Nobody was upset about these rules. I get they want to make the game more fast-paced, more offensive-driven. But there's nothing wrong with it, right? Like, it's like, okay, cool. You start at the 25. Awesome. Right? Like, it's just instilled, right? That just feels like football, right? But, I mean, I guess, whatever. This is a rule change that nobody really wanted or expected, but I guess the NFL's doing it. Okay, cool. Next, I guess. I mean, they banned the hip tackle, right? Right? Like, I don't know. Who knows? I'm not a big fan of Roger Goodell anyways. Him and Rob Manfred. In the NFL, they're adding a game on Wednesday for Christmas. Does this affect the NBA? Because when you think about it, right, you think of the holidays. You have New Year's, that's college football. You have Christmas, NBA. Thanksgiving, NFL. Am I missing a few holidays? Like, I don't know really what else. March is a whole month. July 4th, that's baseball, right? Like, everyone just kind of knows that these things kind of correlate with each other. This will affect the NBA, I think. I think if the NFL is going to add a game on Wednesday for Christmas, so they're going to have games Monday that week, Wednesday, Thursday, and I believe Friday, Saturday too, because that's going to be getting into the playoffs for the NFL. If anything, it'll be Saturday instead of Friday. But you're going to load up the week with football. But the NBA is known like Christmas Day basketball, right? So now if the NFL is going to do it and go out of their way to do it, it's not like it falls on a Thursday or it falls on a Monday or something like that, or a Sunday, right? So if they do that, I think that NBA ratings are going to go down. Everybody loves watching football more than basketball. I think that's just a given, especially when it comes to professional. I mean, even collegiate. Right? College football is a lot bigger than college basketball because everybody just waits until March to watch college basketball. But for college football, they watch it every week. It's fine. I mean, I'm not bothered by it, right? You think about it. You have from November up until April. That's when the college basketball season really is. October, right? That time frame. And then you play like 2-3 games a week. So you see a lot more of it. Versus where football was weekly. But I think for the NBA, it's going to affect them right? The ratings haven't been the best. The games haven't been fun to watch. I think that's why the NFL is going to start taking over. I mean, they already have taken over how they're going to stream, how they're going to, just the market of it all, right? So, I don't know. And the trade deadline, it's now till after week 9, so it's going to extend a week. And banning the hip drop tackles, not a fan of it. I mean, I understand, right? It's for player safety. But every NFL defensive player is like, might as well just play flag football. Even J.J. Watt was commenting about it, right? One of the greats is saying that it's just, right, you're just making it more unfair for the defensive player to actually make a tackle. And to me, it's just like, what are we doing in the NFL, right? Like, you're making it more safe, you're trying to, but then you're going to make it more unenjoyable where you're going to have high-scoring games because you can't tackle anybody, and now all you have to do is kick off, right? Call me traditionalist, right? I don't know. And then MLB, they had their opening day, their opening week. That's been going well. I mean, we've seen several benches clearing in 2 days of baseball being out. And yeah, right? Like, it's good. Like, baseball's back. It's good. It feels like springtime, summertime is finally back in the air. But I think MLB, they didn't, like, market opening day that well. It really started when the Padres and Dodgers played overseas in South Korea. Right? But then nobody knew it, right? They just played on a random day on a 6 a.m. because, of course, like the time difference. Nobody was watching that, right? But I mean, everybody now watches opening day, but I just don't think they marketed good, you know? And the other like storylines, right? It's just, you know, there's the benches clearing, you know, 2 days into baseball, and this is what happens, right? But it's been good. It's, again, a long season ahead, though, for baseball, right? So we'll have to see how it's all going to play out. That's for sure. But I mean, every sport's slowly starting to get in a full swing, right? We have a little bit of arena football going on, right? Not a fan. I won't watch it. But it's good to know you have football in the back. But I mean, everybody's kind of getting a full swing. NHL, same thing. But yeah, March Madness upon us. Beautiful time of year. Then the Masters come up, you know, next week. 2 weeks from now, I think, the 14th or something like that, April. I love it. I love the Masters too. I would love to go one day. That's a dream. Except the tickets are like a few $1,000s to go, right? And then that's the only place you can get Masters merch too, right? But I don't know. Beautiful place. I'll play it on a golfing simulator though. Turn into 2019 Tiger Woods, right? No, but it's a great time of year. My bracket busted now. I mean, it's not even busted. It's just like, what was I thinking making some of these picks, right? Who knows? I probably should have picked NC State to win one more game. They're on a hot tear. But we'll have to see. But yeah, who do I think is going to go to the Final Four? I mean, I'll make a quick prediction right here before I wrap things up. I think Bama beats Clemson. And then I have Duke beating NC State. And then Purdue. So you have UConn, Bama, Duke, Purdue. Final Four. We'll see. We'll come back in a week, see if I'm right. Because we're only getting started. One more weekend left into this, and it flies by. Snap of your fingers, right? But that'll wrap things up on this week's episode of Halfway with Hathaway. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're watching on the YouTube, and make sure to follow and give us that 5-star rating wherever you listen on your podcast. Thank you again for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.